Hi everyone from the UGA community, whoever's following me from VGC community, Blizzards Discord, or wherever. I'm Patrick P. Dons, and I am going to go through the 11 Mons that I was able to draft in Season 3 of the Universal Gaming Association Draft League. First of all, since I'm new to UGA, a lot of you may not know me. So I was playing in the World Cup this year, amongst some other things. This was the graphic that the Victory Road grew up when I was able to defeat South Africa. I also had a loss against Malaysia, but let's not talk about that one. As I said, I'm Patrick, aka P-Dons. I'm the founder and the manager of the Snowbelle Blizzards. In real VGC, I've qualified for Worlds 4 times. I've co-managed Team Ireland in the World Cup that just happened. We went on the group stage, but we held our own overall, so I'm happy with that. I'm also a judge and a TO in real VGC, so I've organized some events. I've helped judge some of them in addition to playing. I also have some draft league experience prior to UGA. I've been one of the prominent members of Steph of Anime's front office for the Golden State Glaceons, which she competed in WBE and XDL. I was fortunate enough to help her out for both of those leagues, and I was very happy to do so. I also recently made playoffs in Jin Furai's High Roller Draft League, which is a pretty significant buy-in. I also had a schedule of a lot of really good players like Joe UX9, Animus, Cortex, and a few others, and I was able to make playoffs even despite that schedule, so I was pretty happy with that. As far as the Snowbelle Blizzards, this is something that's been around for quite a while. It was not invented just for UGA. It was created in 2014 as a farm team for the National Pokemon Association during its 4th season. Now, this is known as NPA, and it's our community's longest-running player draft league. We draft players in the league, though, not Pokemon. People such as Joe UX9, Pato, Marco Fiero, they've participated in this in the past, and it generally showcases a high level of talent. I was fortunate enough to be able to enter NPA 8 with the Snowbelle Blizzards as a manager, and we ended up winning the championship the year after, and then this year we made it back to top 4, but we weren't able to repeat. However, I do want to do a little more with this. Like, obviously, draft leagues have started to become big thanks to WBE, XDL, the amount of work Jin has put in High Roller, and of course UGA, which I feel like was the perfect expansion opportunity for basically the Snowbelle Blizzards. It would be an opportunity for me to basically play in a new league, and I'm excited to do so. So basically, the UGA draft worked like this. It was Series 9 rules. You had to draft 1 A tier, 2 B tiers, 2 C tiers, 1 D tier, and then they gave you 150 points for 5 more Pokemon. Now, I ended up with the 9th pick in the draft, which, if anyone has done draft leagues in Pokemon or fantasy football or anything like that, it's the worst spot in the draft. You're like, in fantasy football, you're not going to accurately get the 2 running backs that you might want to get. In Pokemon, you're not going to have the best chance to be able to guarantee some combos. Like, if I wanted Venusaur and Torkoal, for example, I could pick Venusaur here, but I would be telegraphing the Torkoal from a mile away. So it's a little hard to work from that spot. And Eighth is moderately, ever so slightly better because they at least get a game-changing mon for me. So ninth pick, worst spot in the draft. I just have to work with it. I realized I needed to value the individual strengths of the mons. I had to try to go for simpler combos, and where necessary, I may have to reach for a few unique mons. It is what it is. Now, based on how the tiering worked, you do not get a guaranteed S tier. You have to pay 50 points for any S tier you may get, and you had a maximum of 2 S tiers you could take based on how the points work. So, if I'm going to take an S tier, it needs to be able to do a ton. And basically, I identified 3 S tiers that, if they were available, I would probably go for. Togekiss, in the DF, and Dragapult. Now, it ended up getting to me where it was like the 6th pick, and those 3 were still on the board, and then Togekiss and NDD went immediately. So I was a little worried, but fortunately, the 8th pick was not Dragapult, so Dragapult fell to me, and I picked up Dragapult with the 9th overall pick in the draft. I was thrilled to get this thing. Basically, Dragapult is an S tier pick, so it cost me 50 points. Had 100 left, no big deal. It starts the fantasy core of Dragon, Fairy, and Steel. It's an incredibly versatile Pokemon. Now, if I want to run this thing physical one week, I can easily do it. If I want to run it special another week, I can do it. If I just want to run it with like Will-O-Wisp, Screens, yeah, I can do that too. And with 142 base speed, almost nothing is outspeeding this thing naturally. It was arguably the top pick on my board. It's one of the most unique mons in the entire pool. And by getting it this early, it basically gave me the flexibility to kind of read the board and see what I wanted to do. Especially in like the 9th pick, the more I'm able to let the draft come to me, the better. So I end up seeing a few picks go by, and I'm thinking, is there anything that I can do to support Dragapult, but also give me a potential game-breaking Pokemon? There was a Trick Room Mon I was starting to eye, because I have experience with it in real VGC, and it would give me the ability to set myself up for later. And I realized, like, the 24th pick, it's where I was picking next, it's probably a little bit of a reach, but if I didn't take it now, it probably was not getting back to me. So when I was up again, I grabbed it. I went Gothitelle. Now, Gothitelle, it's an A tier pick. You're obviously picking it for Shadow Tag. With apologies to Wonder Guard and Intimidate, Shadow Tag is the best ability in the game. It is broken. You are essentially denying two of the moves that your opponent can make via like switch outs. You're simplifying your predictions, and you are able to basically pin your opponent in one way or another, so you have an idea of what you need to be able to pick something off, to be able to reposition yourself properly. Like, it's Gothitelle is a busted Pokemon. Like, even Gothitelle plus offensive Pokemon, like with Dragapult, is a combo. That's how good Shadow Tag is. It's a candidate for the best Trick Room setter because of Shadow Tag. Plus, you also get like Fake Out these days. I would say like Mimikyu isn't awful. I also considered it for the potential Shadow Sneak stuff to proc a weakness policy, but I just cannot pass up Shadow Tag. It gets other support moves, Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, Ally Switch. Also, I did give some thought to going down to the C tier later on in the draft and getting Gothorita. However, when you look at the stats in the move pool and the item flexibility, Gothitelle is a much better mon than Gothorita, and it is justifiable to spend the extra points or A tier pick on Gothitelle. Like, for example, Gothorita can't use Brick Break. If I wanted to run Gothitelle with competitive for whatever reason, I could do that. I can't really do that with Gothorita. And stuff like Pinch Berries, I can use it on Gothitelle much better than Gothorita. Yeah, it's arguably a reach. I do get it, but its uniqueness and its flexibility, it really justifies that round 2 A tier pick, especially because I'd have to wait a long time to make my next pick, and it was probably gonna go. So I have no regrets taking Gothitelle. Alright, so we have Dragapult and Gothitelle now. And those are two very solid mons, but they also share a common weakness to Ghost and Dark. Now, Dragapult can kinda help with the Ghost weakness. Like, it's really fast, it can obliterate things with Max Phantasm. But Dark is another issue entirely. So I was basically looking to get a mon that could help me with Dark types. I was trying to think, do I want a resistance? Do I want something that can hit Dark types effectively? So I eventually settled on the resistance and ended up drafting Virizion. Now, this was an interesting pick. It's a B tier pick. I mean, it's a pretty good mon in the B tier. I was happy to get it. I needed a Dark Resist, and I kind of concluded that either Tapu Bulu or Virizion were going to be the pick. They greatly stood out for different reasons, and both of them started the Fire Water Grass score. Then before it got back to me, Tapu Bulu got taken, so the choice was made for me. But it's a good choice too, because it's an obvious beat up combo as well. I lead Dragapult Virizion. I beat up Virizion 4 times, and I'm at +4 attack. And now I have a grass fighting monster with a decent amount of coverage, and really I'm just gonna start knocking things out. The good news with Virizion 2, its attack and special attack are the same, and it has reasonable move pool for both sides. So I can run Virizion physically or specially. It also has immunity to powder moves because it's a grass type. So Amoonguss ain't gonna be able to redirect me. Tangela ain't gonna redirect me. Volcarona ain't gonna redirect me. And Amoonguss ain't gonna put me to sleep. Neither is Venusaur. So I am pretty happy with that aspect of Virizion. And honestly, looking at this draft, it's the best value that you can combo with Dragapult. You've got Terrakion and Colossal in the S tier, which makes sense, of course. But Cobalion, this was a mon that was a B tier in in both XDL and High Roll Draft League, and now it's an S tier. And Arcanine is even there as well when it's been A. Like, if I wanted to beat something up that was reasonable, Virizion was the only game in town. So I was very happy to get this Mon. Okay, so yeah, I have a pretty good team, right? Like a pretty good core right now. I'm happy, but as I was seeing the draft develop, the player with Galarian Moltres was scaring me. Basically, at this point, I was going to get obliterated by this team. I also wanted something fast, and I wanted to, if possible, maybe start focusing down on another core. So I made a decision to spend more points, and in the 4th round, I grabbed Tapu Koko. Now, Tapu Koko, A tier pick, it cost me 40 of my 100 remaining points. It's the second part of the Fantasy Core. So I have the Dragon now. Now I have the Fairy. I'll need to get the Steel later. It's also beautiful electric coverage. You get the terrain control, so Coco's powering up its own moves. Nothing on the ground is going to sleep when electric terrain is out. So Mungus, Tangela, Butterfree, Venusaur, they're not sleeping me. It's also kind of pseudo speed control. Like, Tapu Koko is fast. Regieleki exists, so we kind of forgot. But Tapu Koko is still a 130 base speed mon. So you combine that with Electro Web plus the dynamic speed. That is basically pseudo speed control. Like, it's not Tailwind, it's not Trick Room, but it's pretty damn good. Tapu Koko also has the stats and move pool to be run physically, specially, or supportive. Like, one week I can throw Wild Charge on it, another week I can throw Thunderbolt on it, and the third week, hey, it's screens with Nature's Madness. So, hey, I mean, it's flexible. Also, because I mentioned the Moltres guy, the Moltres team, even with the Raichu, I could still hit it with Max Starfall, but that's actually not going to be necessary because it turns out I actually don't play the Moltres team in the regular season, which is great, I guess. But yeah, Koko somewhat covers my developing weaknesses, especially the Dark types as well. Like Urshifu, yeah, I'll be able to Dazzling Gleam or Starfall it. If there are also some other Dark types like Hydreigon that aren't going to want to see Tapu Koko, and you know what? It helps. And because of electric terrain and its move pool, it's a unique mon. It has more options than Regieleki, and I feel like it's a better choice in draft, and it's by far a better choice for my team. Okay, so for this next pick, I need to give a little bit of background. There are 6 Follow Me Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Smeargle's been left behind, Lucario lost Follow Me, there's no Furret. There are 6 Pokemon. Togepi, Togetic, Togekiss, NDDF, Clefairy, and Clefable. Every Follow Me user except for Togetic and Togepi are S tier. So, with how I've spent, I am not getting those 4. And 2 of them have already been drafted. Using my last A tier pick and 40 points on Togetic is going to be very tough for me to do. But I realize too, this team wants Follow Me. It does not want Rage Powder. It specifically wants Follow Me. Like if Gothitelle gets taunted by a Grass type, we have a problem. I might need to protect my future Water type from any Grass move, and like drafting, say, Tangela is not going to be able to do that. So I made the decision in round 5 to pick up arguably the cutest Pokemon in the draft, Togepi. So it's a C tier pick, and you're drafting it Follow Me. Let's be real. As I kind of explained, the team coming together appreciates unstoppable redirection. Like, you basically need Duraludon or Barraskewda to ignore Togepi follow me. And you know what? It's pretty bulky for, being a Togepi. Like, if I go max, Alola Marowak only KOs Max Flare 6% of the time. Hey, it's nice. If it takes 2 to 3 hits, it's probably done its job. All it really needs to do is protect its partner. And you click the Follow Me button. If you're able to take the hits, well, gotta love Togepi. It gets other support moves too if you're not Follow Meing for whatever reason, like Helping Hand, Life Dew, Charm, and Yawn. One of the things I will have to watch out for is whether I Focus Sash it or Eviolite it in specific weeks. Now, it's Draft League, I'm not going to say never, but most likely these will be the only 2 items that Togepi will be using. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Togepi. And, you know what? Honestly, it's the best value for Follow Me in the draft. It's also the only one I could afford. And, hey, Jamie Boyd just won XDL with Togepi. If it's good enough for Jamie Boyd, it's good enough for me. All right, so we have a nice core kind of developing. Like Dragapult can set up with some Follow Me from Togepi. Virizion might even be able to do it. I can get Trick Room off with the help of Follow Me. Now's the time to start thinking about some combos that might have been left behind, start completing some cores, and see if I can pick up some mons that can help me out. I feel like this 6th pick is a little bit unconventional for what I have, but I also think it has the ability to be magnificent for me. And that is Politoed. I basically spent my last 40 points before I had to pick D tiers to get Politoed. And by doing that, two-thirds of the Fire, Water, Grass core have been completed. I get Weather Control, and I get Perish Song. Now, I have Gothitelle on the team. By getting a mon like Politoed that can also utilize Perish Song, I've added another dimension to this team. So yeah, just that alone justifies Politoed. But it's able to do some other stuff too. Like it doesn't need a swift swim mon to help the team. It's strong on its own. However, if I want to run Thunder with Tapu Koko, I can. I've got Politoed. I can have 100% accurate Thunders. If I'm worried about Virizion taking a fire attack, well, here comes the rain. The mon I pick in the 10th round, slight spoiler, it's helped a little bit with Politoed as well. Like it amplifies another weakness that mon has, but it does help a little bit. But yeah, Politoed has some versatility as well. It's got the stats and move pool to be a support mon, to be a bulky Trick Room attacker. It can even be a Choice Scarf attacker, which has seen some success in real VGC. So when I'm looking at the matchups each week, I have multiple options on how to run Politoed. All right, so for round 7, I basically wanted more offense. And when I saw that this was available, I could not let it go. I got Diggersby. It's a tier C pick, but what do you want from me, guys? This thing's epic. It's a one-trick pony. I admit that, but it is so good at its trick, which is basically to just deal massive damage and delete things. If I Dynamax it, it gets like Max Hailstorm, Max Quake, I think like Max Lightning with like Thunder Punch. It has a lot of options, but even if I don't Dynamax it, it's coming off like just Giga Impact deletes things. Yeah, it has to wait a turn, but it's 150 base power stab move with pure power. Maybe give it a life orb, and I don't even think a rock type is going to want to take that. This thing's a monster, guys. I'm honestly a little surprised it's a C tier, and I am thrilled to get it. Now it does have a middling speed, and its raw stats aren't the best, but it's in a position where it kind of works with all forms of speed control, and in worst case, I just throw out Togepi, Diggersby, and just start following me and max strike deleting things. That's a good mon. Okay, so round 8, I was not sure which way I wanted to go. I knew I wanted a fire type, but did I want to go offensive or defensive? I was looking at 2 mons specifically. Moltres and Torracat. Now, Moltres was obviously the offensive version. Torracat was the defensive version. With Moltres, I could add like rain boost, rain hurricanes. I get a flying mon, fire flying type. It's pretty good. With Torracat, I get intimidate, fake out. You know, it's basically Incineroar. Moltres got drafted, so the choice was made for me. I picked up Torracat round 8. It was a tier B pick, and with Virizion, Politoed, and now Torracat, the Fire, Water, Grass core was completed. As I mentioned, it was a tough choice between Torracat and Moltres, but got made for me. It's basically Incineroar, so except no Dark type. Intimidate, Fake Out, Parting Shot, Snarl, Will-O-Wisp, reasonable Eviolite bulk. I mean, it's a good mon. Constant debuffing pressure can help keep the team alive. Keeps all my mons alive. If I get Trick Room up, the fact that it's a base 90 speed means I have a slower pivot. So in theory, I could switch Gothitelle out or Politoed out. Whatever comes in takes the hit, and then Torracat can U-turn or Parting Shot, and I can easily swap back in Politoed or Gothitelle or whatever, and that mon is not going to take the damage. It does have a base 80 special attack, and I think like a base 85 or 80 attack, so it's not like it can't do any damage. So I I will be able to utilize like Overheat, Flare Blitz, or something like that to make sure I'm able to pick up some chip damage, or if an opponent has a Fire Weak Mon that I want to take advantage of, Torracat can still do it. I was also debating whether or not to make this pick now, but as I looked at the draft, I realized it was now or never for this pick. There were two other fire types I had identified that might be of interest. One of them being Salazzle, though I quickly ruled it out. I realized that if I did not take Torracat now, there was a team that was desperately looking for a fire type. It would fit in perfectly, and I realized I could not chance anything. I just had to take this Mon right now, and I did. And as it turns out, the team that I suspected might take a fire type, potentially even Torracat, did end up taking Salazzle. So I was very happy to, in some ways, be able to get this, and that my instincts for the draft were kind of on the money, at least that round. All right, so round 9, I'm basically down to D tiers now for the last 3 picks. So these aren't going to be game-breaking mons, but I still want to find some value. And I realized there's no better value than Coughing. I've been stressing that there are a lot of mons that do some unique things, and Neutralizing Gas is one of the most unique things that a mon can do. If I need it, it's emergency Intimidate protection. Like, I can lead Verzian, Diggersby, or even Tapu Koko plus Coughing, and I would not be intimidated. Now, obviously with Koko, I have to be careful to have no electric terrain, but yeah, it does protect me from abilities. If I don't like a team's abilities, or I feel like I can't deal with them, Coughing becomes my ultimate trump card. It has a reasonable physical bulk even without Eviolite. Like Max Quake from Glastrier, it's supposed to do a lot of damage. Coughing is weak to ground, but Coughing actually survives AV Glastrier's Max Quake about 62% of the time, which, I mean, for a Coughing, that's pretty good. Now, if I want to guarantee it, obviously I put on the Eviolite, everything is good, but this just shows I don't necessarily need to run Eviolite or Sash on Coughing for it to do its job. It also has some fun status moves, like Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Taunt, and you know what? If it survives, it hangs around a few turns, shuts down the opponent's abilities, causes disruption, it's done its job. And from like a D tier, you really can't ask for much more. Alright, so Coughing is gone. I had at least considered maybe picking up Archeops because I had Coughing, and it would give me some Tailwind and like a really powerful mon for D tier. It wasn't the best fit, but I at least thought about it because I had Coughing. So Archeops ended up going 2 picks later, so that was out. So at this point, I've completed the Fire, Water, Grass core. I still have a Fantasy core that needs to be completed. So with that in mind, my 10th pick was Aggron. Now, Aggron is in the D tier. I end up using 10 of my 20 remaining points to get it. Fantasy course completed. It's kind of a no frills mon, but it's a dedicated Trick Room attacker with a base 50 speed. It doesn't have as good stats as Stack Attack, obviously, but like I think 110 attack, 180 defense, 50 speed. I mean, for D tier versus an A tier, it's fine. It's got excellent physical coverage. Like, I think it gets all the punches, body press, stabs, obviously. And I have enough with this team that I believe I can bring out the best in Aggron. Like for example, Gothitelle, Trick Room, Brick Break. Now it's got a weakness policy boost. So I'm very happy to be able to pick up Aggron in round 10. And honestly, it's not a bad mon to complete the fantasy core. All right, so for the last pick, I was looking at something to help out Dragapult specifically, and the reason I was doing that was because I have a team where I'm kind of supporting each other. Dragapult is also supporting some of these other mons, but nothing is actively supporting Dragapult directly. So with that in mind, I picked up Spiritomb as my final pick. It was the last pick of my draft, so 10 points. I'm out of points. The intent was to support Dragapult with an unfake-outable weakness policy proc. Like, I could do Shadow Sneak, I could do Sucker Punch, either or works. It could also sit in Trick Room and either attack or spread debuffs and status. However, I felt the synergy with the rest of the team seemed off. If it wasn't helping Dragapult, it basically was just sitting there as a mon on an island by itself. So I felt I could do better, and as a result, I traded away Spiritomb during the 24-hour grace period after the draft. What did I pick up? Gaily. Now, I made this swap because it has Ice Shard and Inner Focus. It means I can proc a weakness policy on Dragapult without worrying about Fake Out, which is what Spiritomb was able to do. However, with Ice Shard, I can also proc weakness policies on Verzian and Diggersby. So I'm getting 3 mons I can support now instead of 1 just on this switch. And you know what? It has a decent enough attack and support pool where I just don't need to Ice Shard bot this thing. Like there are weeks I can run it a little differently, and they won't be any worse for it. And the fact that it has 80 base stats across the board, I mean, 80 isn't great, but for Draft League, it gives me the flexibility on how I want to run Gaily the weeks I bring it. So it's a good mon to close out this team. Now, going through this, I think I have a few strengths on this team, and one of them is that the team's fast. Dragapult's got 142 base speed, Tapacoco's got 130, Virizion has 108 speed. All 3 of them have ways to control speed as well, albeit 2 of them are max airstream only, or max strike, but all of them can reasonably control speed. It also has a reasonable Trick Room mode. Gothitelle is one of the best setters in the game, but Aggron can work well in Trick Room, Gothitelle can support it. You can make Politoed and Diggersby slow enough to function in Trick Room as well. So you know what? If I want to run these mons in a Trick Room mode 1 week, I'm able to do so. Like even Gaily, 80 base speed, it's not bad. Like many Uber formats with like Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, they were based on the fact that base 90 speed Pokemon were being used in Trick Room and got down to 85 and 85 speed stat. Gaily is slower than that, so I can definitely do something with it there too. I was able to complete the Fire Water Grass cores and the Fantasy cores without, at least in my opinion, without reaching for the specific mons. So I was able to get mons that I felt helped me while still doing the 2 cores, instead of instead of just grabbing Mons because they complete the core, which I think makes the team stronger. We've got multiple Mons that can be run in multiple ways, like Dragapult, Virizion, Tapu Koko. They can all be run physically and specially, Gale technically as well. I have a lot of follow me and setup potential. Dragapult again, Virizion again, Gothitelle, like even Diggersby. Like it's not really set up, but really gonna complain with the follow me plus 150 base power max strike coming off of a pure power mon. I mean, it's pretty strong. Politoed, Gothitelle, and a bunch of pivoters, they enable a Perish Trap option for me. Like Dragapult can U-turn, Koko can obviously Volt turn. You know, Torracat's got Parting Shot. Like, I have flexibility to play like that, and maybe pin the right team if I want to. Granted, though, because you're relying on taking hits, it might be a little hard to pull off in a Dynamax format. But it's Draft League. Who knows? Now, this is not the perfect team. Not even close. I think it's a team that can get me to the playoffs, but it's not the perfect team. And I'm going to mention a few things that I think I could have done better. I have no Tailwind, and I only have one Trick Room user. Now, Max Airstream can mitigate this somewhat, because I'm lightning fast in with some mons, and I have Electro Web on one of them. The speed control is adequate, but I think it could be better. So we'll have to see how it plays. Maybe there's some moves I can make during the swap period after week 4. Also, a few of these mons, they're arguably only support on paper. Like, I don't see Coughing or Togepi taking that many KOs, for example. It's workable, but it puts pressure on the remaining offensive threats to do their job. So I may not have the coverage I am looking for because of some of these support mons. However, I feel like the mons I did draft have flexible ways to do coverage, so I think this is mitigated somewhat. Yes, I don't need a Swift Swim mon, but it might be nice to have one. Give Politoed something it combos with a little bit better. Like, Drizzle supports a lot of the team indirectly, but there's nothing on the team that specifically says, because rain is up, this happens. Maybe a mon that does that might be a little bit better down the line. And defensive switch-ins. I have a decent team, decent stats. I don't think I have a mon that specifically you just switch in and it eats damage. Like, I have mons that can take hits. I don't think I have a mon that's a true damage sponge, except for maybe Aggron, but it has a few 4 times weaknesses, and it doesn't have the best special defense. So positioning is going to be important for me. If I'm in a situation where I'm outpositioned and I can't take a hit because of the mons I have, I'm going to be in trouble. So this is something I might want to look at during the airdrop week, but at the same time, it's something that can also be mitigated by play. So I'm concerned about it, but I'm not too worried about it, at least right now. It's something I'll just have to play around, and I think the team gives me enough options to be able to do it. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. This is an 8-week season. Then this playoffs if I make it, which that's the goal, obviously. As I mentioned, mid-season transactions after week 4. I I will obviously keep my options open. I intend to stream all my sets on Twitch. You can find them at twitch.tv/pdons. Link will be in the description below. And honestly, I am looking forward to competing. A lot of the people in my division I don't recognize from the official circuit, so I don't know how well they're like I don't know their overall experience level, but I do know there are at least like 5 people who have won their division in UGA before. And when you look at the draft, all 16 teams I think drafted well. So this is going to be a tough league. It's going to be a tough division, and I'm honestly looking forward to testing my skills and seeing how well it goes. So with that, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for watching, and let's go win.